Hello everyone, Jule here. Recently, we have tried to cover another genre for the sake of the dynamic, cause playing RPG games can be a little bit tedious at times. So today, I'm planning on giving you my recommendation of my best open world games across all platforms. Some of them are not RPG because we are going to emphasizing on the open world aspect for this one. Alright then, let's get started. Odyssey isn't an island that's ever known peace, which is really for the best if you consider just how much chaos you can cause. The entire province is at your feet, and considering the arsenal of weapons that it will build up during your playthrough, I can't help but pity its citizens a bit. Don't expect too much from the missions or NPCs as they are shallow at best. Despite that, it's still packed with a lot of fun.
Through the motions. Probably right.
L.A Noire quite evidently prioritized its detective cases over anything else. While the investigation process is in-depth enough to make you analyze suspects' facial expression, the actual open world itself is mainly made up of crimes you can intervene and vintage cars to ride. You cannot freely enter shops or play through Cole Phelps' personal life, but if you want to saturate yourself with old-timey talk and criminal activities, you will find more than enough to delight in L.A Noire. Recent updates to the game bring No Man's Sky surprisingly high on this list, considering how poorly it was received when it first came out. It's now got 30 hours of story content, new lore, different ways to interact with its NPCs, and terraforming. The most recent No Man's Skies Beyond update brought even more features and changes, including rideable aliens, a new social system, and VR support. Forget open world, No Man's Sky is an open galaxy, and you should absolutely jump into it if you look good in its spacesuit and love discovering exotic alien wildlife. The open world of Lucis is huge, and its towering geographic features and sweeping wide open plains give it a rare sense of scale. Though exploring it was one of the best parts of Final Fantasy XV, the logistics of getting around takes some getting used to at first. There are tons of side missions to participate in, including plenty that have a higher level requirement than the final leg of the main story. Basically, Final Fantasy XV is the best open world version of Final Fantasy. Mafia was a fantastic mobster game back when it was released in 2002. Fortunately, Mafia was given a massive overhaul. It looks and plays like a modern title release. The storyline is full of ups and downs. Likewise, this game is set in an open world, so you can drive around and explore. However, since this game was originally released in 2002, there wasn't a ton for players to do within the city outside of missions. Regardless, the game visual is quite a feat, and you'll get a look at the bustling 1930 Illinois fictional city. Days Gone is a zombie post-apocalyptic video game. In this title, players take the role of a former motorcycle gang member named Deacon. This game is an open-world title where players are mainly roaming on foot or riding a motorcycle. The game features massive hordes of zombies when you're not taking on missions for different camp factions nearby. It's pretty impressive the number of zombies that can show up in a horde as well, so you might want to be cautious on where you're venturing to. Middle-earth Shadow of War is centered around a fallen ranger who manages to hang on to life after being connected to a spirit elf lord. Now seeking revenge, players will set out to topple the orcs. The game is open world and has plenty of hack and slash gameplay, But there's an interesting mechanic involved known as the Nemesis system. Players will find that orcs who defeat our protagonists in battle will be ranked up higher in their respective outfits. Thus, when player meets up again, they'll remember the last battle and bring up different aspects of it.
Zoom.
Dying Light launched back in 2015, and you can still find quite a bit of enjoyment out of the original installment. In this game, players are investigating a quarantine zone that is full of infected citizens. Players will find that one of the good aspects about this game is the exploration. There are many areas to explore, and that should get a bit more expensive when it comes to the sequel release, Dying Light 2 Stay Human. However, for now, it's worth checking out this first installment. Eden's Gate might sound like a wonderful location, and it actually is, when you're not busy fighting cultists, that is. Unlike that previous Far Cry games, you can access the entire region as soon as you're finished with the tutorial missions, allowing you to glide, drive, or just sprint through the dense of Montana landscape and take down the cult's outposts, much like previous Far Cry games. The most unique feature in this game is that this time you can have a lion, dog, or bear at your side. Overall, if you love Far Cry, just make sure that you don't miss this one. As Forza Horizon 5 crosses the finish line, the bar for open-world racing has again been raised in so many different ways. A map of Mexico that's bigger, higher, and wildly more varied than any Horizon game yet. A fresh change to the way the Horizon Festival itself is gradually constructed, which results in more one-off events deliberately designed to showcase Horizon 5 at its very best. It never locks you into something you don't want to do and steadily rewards you for however you choose to play it. It looks beautiful, it sounds magnificent, and it is glorious to play. Journeying around a massive world on your own is just no fun at all. Dragon Age Inquisition gives you a bunch of companions to run around with and a ton of side quests to use them in. At first, it's easy to get overwhelmed with the number of side quests that saturate its lush fantasy world, but as long as you remember to take advantage of the fact that there are multiple areas to explore from the very beginning, you will slowly be able to gauge which ones are worth doing as soon as possible. The story will also keep you engaged, so while it might claim many hours of your life, it's worth the time investment. Going in with all guns blazing isn't everyone's cup of tea. So if you are thirsting for a stealth action open world game, Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain should be the right choice. Encouraging non-lethal playing styles rather than killing indiscriminately, the degree to which all the different systems interweave is astonishing, and you are free to roam and dispatch with enemy soldiers however you see fit. However, don't get too used to a set group of tactics. The enemies will adapt if you repeat the same approaches too much. Borderlands 3 is what happens when a modern looter shooter doesn't concern itself with the longevity of its item economy and daily quests. You will venture to several varied and jaw-droppingly beautiful planets, from the grimy neon metropolis of Promethea to the cherry blossom speckled peaks of Athenas, and each stands out visually. The sheer magnitude and diversity of its arsenal of fun and surprising weaponry is unmatched, and the striking amount of loving detail and variety packed into its energetic and replayable 30-hour campaign is what makes Borderlands 3 a high point for the series and the genre as a whole. Outer Worlds is a very familiar format to anybody who's played a Fallout game. There are almost always multiple ways to fight, talk, or sneak your way through. Because the outer world is split into smaller open world maps, there's definitely not as much discoverable stuff out there to stumble upon between quest markers, but there's still a fair amount to hunt down. If you love Fallout series, then definitely try this one out. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is truly a remarkable achievement, as the story-rich main questlines all interweave to leave you wrestling with personal revelations, as well as something mysterious which affect the entirety of the ancient Greek world. There are mercenaries that will hunt you down if you murder or steal, as well as mythical monsters for you to tackle, romance storylines, and the return of naval combat. There's enough to keep you busy for at least 100 hours, so if you're looking for a game that will give you value for money with the amount of content bubbling inside it, you really cannot go wrong with Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
For their crimes.
Talking about Genshin Impact, the real star here is the Teyvat itself, a world that is absolutely bursting at the seams with possibilities. It's actually almost distressing how much there is to do. In any given area in the massive world map, there always seem to be about 5 or more things to pursue, each with their own challenges and rewards. Once you start unlocking new characters, each with their own fighting style, abilities, and elemental affinities, the world takes on different shapes as you gain completely new ways of interacting with it. The ecosystem certainly flirts with being pay to win, but somehow the game manages to strike a decent balance so that those who don't want to spend a dime can still enjoy the whole game for free.
The pale flame smolders!
The Fallout franchise has been thriving for years. However, as you expect, the main gameplay starts with players coming out of the vault. Players are out venturing the wasteland searching for their missing child. In the game, we are thrown into the Boston area, and just like with previous installments, the world is full of debris, mutated creatures, and radiation. However, that doesn't mean that there's not quite a bit to explore. This is still a pretty big area full of makeshift settlements, towns, hubs, and landmarks. The radical changing gameplay in Nier Automata makes it one of the craziest and most beautiful action sequences you will ever encounter. Coupled with beautiful visuals, open world, and a stunning soundtrack, this game is just too good to pass up. There are also a number of missions and quests you can do on the side. These missions are not always exciting, but they help fill in backstory and reward you with money and loot upon completion. Taking place in a post-apocalyptic world where tribes hunt robots in a lush overgrown landscape, you are put in the shoes of Aloy, the razor-sharp outcast. Hunt robots sneakily or with your weapons as you uncover the mysterious past of the old ones, their ruins spread across this massive open-world game, being sure to keep your interest at its highest peak. The new Game Plus even makes Horizon more challenging and begs you to replay it even when the main quest is done and dusted. Although you may be surprised to find a samurai game full of swords, blood, and violence in a list of best open-world games, Ghost of Tsushima is surprisingly phenomenal. It is an enormous and densely packed samurai adventure that often left you completely awestruck by its visual and excellent combat. Introducing new abilities instead of stat upgrades, its swordplay manages to stay challenging, rewarding, and fun throughout the entire 40 to 50 hours campaign. This is an extraordinary open-world action-adventure game that solves several issues that have long gone unaddressed in the genre.
finally awake.
Skyrim's world doesn't revolve around you. The map is just filled with stuff to do, bizarre things to see, creatures to fight, creepy ruins to explore, oh, and of course, dragons to fight. Even after playing it for a casual 100 hours, there are still quests and hidden bosses waiting to be slayed. If you are yet to play this game, you are best off jumping in and starting your new life in its world.
What are you doing?
Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a masterclass in open-world design and a watershed game that reinvents a 30-years-old franchise. It presents a wonderful sandbox full of mystery and a lot of intriguing things in front of you that just beg to be explored. You will easily spend countless hours trying to track down its fascinating moments. The sheer freedom and sense of adventure is a remarkable achievement. This game initially came out in 2013, and after nearly a decade, we still see this game receive ports. GTA 5 is not only an enjoyable game, but also a smart parody of America. It represents a refinement of everything that GTA 4 brought to the table 5 years ago. It's technically more accomplished in every conceivable way, but it's also very ambitious in its own right. Overall, this is one of the very best games that ever made. After the great success with Red Dead Redemption, fans were not surprised to see a sequel installment. However, this sequel is a prequel to the first game. Again, Rockstar Games outdid themselves when it comes to the world. This is one of those titles that reward players for simply exploring. You will come across random events, interesting side quests, and beautiful sceneries while exploring. The map itself offers a wide variety of areas to explore, and there's also quite a bit to do within these areas outside of just exploring and taking quests. There are a few fantasy games that are well worth going back to play. One of those games that continued to receive praise long after being first released is The Witcher 3. Developed under CD Projekt Red, this game franchise has accumulated a massive fanbase. One of the reasons is because there is so much to do in the game. Across 6 regions of this map, you will find creatures to battle with, quests to take on, and resources to exploit. Overall, you can easily sink countless hours into this game. Alright boys, I think that's it for today. I'm a little bit biased into some games, especially Genshin, never mind that, and feel free to express your opinion in the comment section below. This isn't my last time to cover up another genre in this channel, so make sure to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss it. Thank you for watching and have a good day. Peace.